So yeah, we're still up there. We're still, we're still a little lower now, obviously.
The president hasn't escaped his notice here. He tweeted saying, look, Jay Powell, you're doing pathetic is actually what he called it, and his main concern is a strong dollar. There is no doubt that on that technical evidence, the dollar is quite strong. It went back a bit today, but on the broad-based currency basket, it is very, very strong. What do you think the Fed is going to do now? I know most people do not have a consensus that they're actually going to cut in October. Do you think they could sneak in there with an October cut?
A lot depends on the consumer. I mean, the consumer is driving this market. He's 69% of the economy. One day like this, no manufacturing, of course, is a number you definitely take serious. But let's see what happens. I mean, it's a Halloween, basically. It's basically a month away before they have to look at cutting again. A lot can happen. The trade war could be over. He's going to have talks again with the Chinese. So a lot can happen in those 30 days.
This is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with low manufacturing numbers, even in Europe and here as well. Obviously, talks with U.S. and China starting again next week. What I want to know from you is some people are talking about a complete restructuring. Do you think a lot of these companies listed here are dealing with that in forward guidance and saying, look, next quarter out, next year out, things are going to be much rougher because of that, the trade turbulence?
Again, I think a lot has to do with where the trade turbulence goes this month. This is a critical month. I mean, it's the beginning of the fourth quarter. It's going to set things up for next year, no question about it. If, in fact, we reach a deal with the Chinese, all bets are off. We're back to the races. You could see, 30,000 by the end of the year here in the Dow.
In terms of actually being an investor at this point in time, you talk about the low volumes. A lot of people are sitting on cash.
Definitely.
Is that good advice at this point?
I think I'd wait to jump in because it could go either way. If, in fact, the Chinese walk away or if Trump walks away, I mean, this market could definitely stall. There's no question about it. The end of the year, normally, historically, the fourth quarter is always good for equities, but we'll have to wait and see this time.
Yeah, although there's still always some turbulence through September, October. It does definitely spook investors there. I want to talk to you a little bit about oil. We're in a bear market now. Again. Surprising to you, given obviously the events that aren't that old, right? We're talking about, we're not even 2 weeks out from the attack on Saudi Arabia. Production starting to come back online. You cannot do anything to save that oil market right now.
No. I'm not really surprised. And again, I think a lot's going to depend on how they do over there. I mean, that attack was really, how do you stop those drones from coming in? I think that's going to be a problem for Saudi Arabia to adjust, and we'll have to wait and see where that goes.
How does it spook the market? Is it just low, obviously lower growth, meaning supply doesn't need to be there, and people believe there is enough oil sloshing around?
Sure, that is. I mean, the world's awash. I mean, look, we're exporters now, basically. So I think that's weighing on everything also. So I don't think it's going to volatile too much coming this year, but I think we'll keep an eye on oil.
And before I let you go, Alan, the resiliency of that Hong Kong financial market, and without wanting to get into the politics of it, how resilient do you think the financials there, the financial community can stay in the face of what we'll get to it in a minute here on the Express, but in the face of, again, an escalation in those protests in the last 24 hours?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's getting really serious over there now. I mean, they're still shooting rubber bullets, but they did shoot one real bullet yesterday, I think it was, or Sunday. So things might get out of hand. I mean, it doesn't look like the anarchists want to back off. We know the Chinese are not going to back off. They are not going to lose Hong Kong. And it's a no-win situation for the Hong Kongese to keep fighting this. So I think eventually they're either going to wear them down, or I hope things don't escalate even worse than they are now.
Yeah, you and me and a lot of people around the world. Everyone. Alan, thanks so much. Really appreciate your time on this.